Hey guys, hiking and homesteading. Today's video we're going to do my favorite 5 birds countdown, and I'll tell you why for each one, and maybe it'll give you some insight as to what type of birds you should get for your homestead. So we're here at the log cabin, soaking up the views, and let's dig in. All right, so the my number 5 choice is the Easter egger or Americana or Araucana, any of those in that kind of category. The reason why I like those is they're colored eggs. They lay really pretty eggs. Now the reason why they came in number 5 is they're not the best for egg production. They're not going to give you as many eggs as some of your top layers. I think they range around 150, 200, maybe 250 eggs a year. But they're kind of on the lower scale of your layers. But if you're a homesteader, you tend to like eggs that look different from the store, that are neat, and everybody loves like the green eggs or the blue eggs. And so people that I sell them to at work really enjoy getting the different colored eggs. And supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that those the blue and green eggs have less cholesterol. Again, seems like a wise tale, because really it comes down to the diet of the bird that determines nutrition of the egg, and not so much about the breed or the color of the eggshell. But anyways, that's number 5 for me, is the Easter egger Americana. Again, they just lay really cool eggs. It's not near my top of the list because they just aren't the top for egg production and feed to egg ratio if you're coming out good on the budget. But again, they are really cool. There's a market for them. People really like them. It's neat to crack them and eat them. And anyways, they're just really cool. So the Easter egger Americana is number 5. Number 4 is a tie between a couple breeds, and I'll tell you why. But the Rhode Island Red and the Barred Rock. Okay, those are both heritage breeds. They are both from the New England area. They're super cold hardy. They're great foragers, and they're a dual purpose bird. And actually, before the Cornish cross meat chicken was developed in like the 40s or 50s, in 1940, the Barred Rock was actually what fed most Americans. It was actually the chicken you would get at the store, as opposed to the Cornish cross, which has the really big breasts that we actually eat now in stores. So the Barred Rock is a good dual-purpose bird, and same with Rhode Island Red. Both of them have basically all the same qualities. They're both pretty close in egg production. The Rhode Island Reds tend to be a little bit higher up on egg production. They come in about 300 eggs a year. Barred Rock about 250. But again, they're pretty close on that. Meat size and stuff for them, I think the Rhode Island Reds just get a touch bigger, maybe a pound or so, but they're both thick birds that can be used as a dual purpose for meat if you want to as well. Both of them have been known to be decent mothers, especially the Barred Rock. They're good at sitting and hatching eggs. So anyways, they're both very well-rounded birds that are good at foraging, good at egg laying, good at meat, good mothers. So I guess between them, it just depends on what you like on your color pattern. I tend to think the Rhode Island Red roosters are really pretty. They have kind of a green sheen in their tail feathers and stuff. So anyways, Rhode Island Reds, great bird. And then the Barred Rock, they're also from New England area too. They were called the Plymouth Barred Rock. But those are number 4 for me, and they are good, just dual purpose birds. Number 3, okay, and this may not be a lot of people's number 3, but the White Leghorn, okay? Let me tell you why. If you get eggs at the store, the white eggs you get are typically from White Leghorns, okay? They do really well at laying. I mean, they lay like 320, 350 eggs a year. They lay a lot of eggs, and they do well in confinement. Now, I don't confine mine free range, but they forage really well for me too. They get out in the pasture and forage and everything else. Now, a couple cons to these birds. One is that they are very small and skinny, which is also a pro for it. They have, in my opinion, of all the birds I've owned, they have the best feed to egg ratio. In other words, they don't, and even if you free range them on a pasture, they still have to eat some grain. So they have the best feed to egg ratio because they are so small but lay jumbo white eggs. So that's a good pro to them, but it's also a con if you're looking for something for meat or dual purpose bird. They are not even worth trying to butcher because they are so small. It's like butchering a dove or something. So they are not a dual purpose bird. But for me, I mostly want eggs. If I want to get meat off a bird, I tend not to raise the heritage breeds. I'll do the beet turkeys, which I did a video on, or I'll do the Cornish cross, which will grow up to 10 pounds in 2 months, and they get huge, and that's what you tend to eat at the store. So if I'm going to go for a meat chicken, I'm going to go for a meat chicken made for meat. And if I'm going to go for egg laying chicken, I'm going to go for an egg laying chicken. There is some merit to getting a dual purpose if you want to be fully self-sufficient. But again, if you're going for eggs, the white leghorn is great for that. Another con to it is that it is not very cold hardy. But I live in the mountains of North Carolina, and so it gets a little cold here with some snow in the winters. But they do fine. It's only if you live in extreme climates, or maybe New England or places like that, Minnesota, where it gets super cold in the winter, that you'd have to worry about frostbite on the white leghorn. So unless you're in a really cold climate, the white leghorns usually do fine with the cold. But another thing which is a con to them for some people, but is a pro for the white leghorns for me, is they are super nervous and flightish. They are not a bird that will let you pick them up. They're not aggressive. They're not mean at all. They're going to run and get away from you, but they don't like to be handled. Some people like birds they handle. I like them to be flightish, because even though they're white and you think they'd stick out to predators, the white leghorns almost never get eaten by predators because they are so skittish of everything and so flightish, and they can fly really well. They're so lightweight they can actually fly. Like some chickens can't really fly much because they're so thick and heavy. So they are just really good at evading predators. And honestly, I have so many different animals in the homestead. I don't really like the chickens that are so friendly. They get under my feet all the time. They try to get up in my yard and poop around the house and stuff. So I don't really want them to be my best friends. That's because I've just got so many other animals in the homestead that I don't really need a companion out of the chicken. They're there to help feed the family. So our dog is our family companion, right? So, but anyways, the white leghorns, I love them because they have so many good things about them. They lay a ton of eggs. They have the best feed to egg ratio, in my opinion. They are awesome for that. They put the eggs out, man. Oh, one other con to them is they are terrible winter layers. What does that mean? It means when winter comes around, it's not because of the cold, it's because of the daylight hours. When the daylight hours come down, they just literally stop laying. Once the days get shorter, they stop laying. So you can fix that by putting a lamp in their coop. I like to give them that 2-month break. But whenever the days get longer in the spring, they will lay an egg every single day. I mean, they rarely miss a day. So they are great for that. But again, that's another con. So cons are they're flightish. They aren't very cold hardy, but that only really applies if you live in pretty cold climates. And they don't lay good in the winter. They stop laying in the winter unless you do lambs. And but anyways, they are great foragers, even though they are typically made for confinement and factory production. They are really good foragers outside. They have really good egg to meat ratio. They're so tiny. Again, they're not going to be a dual purpose bird. They're not going to be a meat bird, but I really like them a lot for my homestead. All right, and I always have a blended flock because each bird's got this and that pros and cons. So you got to weigh it out for yourself. Number 2, okay, this may be some people's number 1. It kind of depends on what you're going for. But number 2, if you are a self-sufficient person, number 2, the black Australorp. A lot of people love those. I raise them as well. They are just good at everything, okay? They are high up on every category. They can be dual purpose. They can be used for meat. They lay really good eggs. They hold the record for the number of eggs laid in a year. One of them laid 364 eggs in 1 year. So that's a lot of eggs. So anyways, they hold the record. Most of them aren't going to lay quite that much. In fact, most of them are going to be right around the 300 mark. They're not going to be as high as some of the other breeds like the white leghorns as far as egg production, but they're still going to lay a lot of eggs. They can go broody, so they can be good mothers. They can sit on the eggs and hatch the eggs for you. So they have that aspect to them. They are friendly. They're very friendly birds. You can hold them and stuff a lot. So they're just, they're just the best all around. They can be moms. They can be friendly. They are cold hardy. They're a heritage breed of bird. They can be used for meat. They can make a lot of eggs. They make brown eggs. Again, it's called a black Australorp. They were from Australia. And again, they're, as far as a homesteader, self-sufficiency, if you want to be off the grid, they are probably your go-to bird. They can just sustain everything of themselves. They're not made for one given purpose, but they're really good at everything. So anyways, the cons to them though, there's one con I would give them, and that is my opinion. They've been really friendly to the point where they've gotten eaten by predators. I don't know if they're trying to hang out with the foxes or something, and then the foxes eat them for dinner. They're just not afraid of the foxes. But I had 5 of them at one point and lost all 5. I've got a few now too, but those time in past year or so ago, I had 5 of them, lost all 5 of the predators. I don't know why. Didn't lose any other chickens, just lost those 5. So they seem to be real friendly with animals. Anyways, okay. Now we're down to number 1. So this is my favorite. Some people like them, some people don't. Number 1 for me is the Isa Brown or the Golden Comet. They're almost the same thing. There's a little difference between them. Let me tell you why I like them. They have an excellent feed to egg ratio, not quite as good as the White Leghorn, but they lay more eggs and they lay year-round through the winter. So they're going to lay big jumbo brown eggs. They lay right around 350 eggs a year, just a little bit more than White Leghorn, and they're going to lay all year round. So you got to love them for that. Very delicious eggs. They are great foragers. They're high production. They're not the best dual purpose bird. They are bigger than the Leghorns. You could eat them, but they're not super meaty. So they're still a bit smaller. And the other reason why I like them, what people don't realize, when you get a baby chick at the store, it takes, you tend to get them a day or 2 old, or if you order them, it takes 6 months to raise that chicken to point of lay where it'll start laying eggs. Some of them, like the Americanas, the number 5 one on the list I said, it takes them 8 months. So the good thing, this is Isa Brown, the good thing about them, they can start coming into production in as little as 4 months. Doesn't typically happen in 4 months, but as little as 4 months. But usually 5, at the latest 6 months. They're basically, the Isa Browns are your earliest breed to start laying, and they're going to lay the most eggs per year consistently. They're going to lay through the winter, and they're not going to eat a ton of feed. And so you can buy the more organic feed because you'll have more money in your budget there. And they are friendly too. They got everything. Con to them is that they're kind of ugly because, in comparison to other ones, because they're kind of mutts. They're just mixed with other breeds from hatcheries to make the best egg laying breed. So they're just kind of brown with some white feathers in them too, and they're just not like a really pretty bird. And they're not good mothers. They're not really gonna sit on eggs. They're never gonna go broody. So if you're just looking for like pure egg production, meat to feed ratio and stuff, that's your bird. So anyways, that's my 5. Maybe your 5's different. You can comment on them. There's other birds I'm not as big on, like buff Orpingtons. Those are great mothers. They can sit on eggs all the time, but they only lay like 150 eggs a year, and they're really heavy, so they end up eating a lot of feed. So some people like them, some people don't. Copper Morans lay beautiful copper colored eggs, but again, they're not the best egg layers. They come in maybe around 250 eggs a year. So anyways, everybody's got their preference on stuff, but those are my top 5, and I recommend getting a blended flock. Like Americana's my 5th one on the list. It's not good for egg production, but I have 2 or 3 of them just to put some colored eggs in my cartons of eggs. So anyways, hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and keep following us here at Hiking and Homesteading. Thanks.